Hollywood and the four corners of the world. You asked for it. Starring Rich Little. Here's the star of You Asked For It, Rich Little.
Thank you, and welcome to the only show on television that takes you around the world in 30 minutes just because you asked for it. Tonight from the Philippines, a deadly form of stick fighting. An inside look at the legal monopoly that has made almost $2 trillion and much more. First up, a deadly martial art called arnis de mano. When we think of the martial arts, we tend to think of kung fu from China or karate from Japan. But one of the most lethal fighting styles comes from the Philippines. How does it work? Well, Jack Smith describes the action because Pamela Andrews of Rolette, Texas, you asked for it.
In 1521, Magellan was killed by a Philippine arnis de mano master. The shocked Spanish outlawed it for the 3 centuries they ruled the Philippines. But not even 300 years of Spanish suppression were enough to destroy this ancient martial art. It continued to be practiced in secret, and today it flourishes as one of the most popular sports in the Philippines. Dan Flaviano, one of the country's leading masters, deserves much of the credit for reviving this nearly lost art. Dan runs the Filipino Arnis Academy in Manila. At the age of 50, he has trained under old masters who have long since died. In his hands is preserved the skills of generations of experts. There are 12 basic movements in the art. At times it looks like dancing rather than the deadly martial art that it is. But make no mistake about it, if any one of those blows connected, it could be lethal. Just how deadly is arnis de mano? Well, judge for yourself as we see Dan single-handedly fend off 6 attackers. Arnis de mano at its best. And you saw it because, Pamela Andrews, you asked for it.
Like all the martial arts, stick fighting is a specialized skill. There's more to know than you can shake a stick at. So don't try this at home because somebody could get hurt. And it could be you. Coming up on You Asked For It, an inside look at a legal monopoly that has made more than $2 trillion.
And now back to Rich Little.
Did you ever wish you could make a fortune in real estate? Well, it's not too hard. Since 1935, millions of people have been making and losing fortunes on a roll of the dice and wise investing. How? By playing the most American of American games, Monopoly. Now, Monopoly may seem like just another game, but there's more to it than meets the eye. Our Janet Langhart takes us behind the scenes of the Monopoly manufacturing plant. Then we'll go to the city where the real-life Monopoly is played every day. Laura Kulsick of San Luis Obispo, California, you asked for it.
This is the Parker Brothers factory in Salem, Massachusetts. Over 80 million Monopoly sets have been manufactured here since 1935. And as you can see, they're still going strong. The board game is sold in 29 different countries and printed in 18 languages. To date, the printing presses here have turned out more paper money per year than the United States Treasury. Although Monopoly is just a game, the city on which it's based really does exist. It's called Atlantic City. It was once one of America's liveliest beach resorts, home of the Miss America pageant, famed for its boardwalk and saltwater taffy. Atlantic City is a town of many facets, and most of them can be found along the four paths of the world-famous Monopoly board. Our tour of Atlantic City begins at go. With $200 and a roll of the dice, we're on our way. As a beach resort, many of the streets in Atlantic City are named after oceans or seas, like Baltic. The real Baltic, like its counterpart on the Monopoly board, is in the low-rent district. But city planners have begun a successful urban renewal project which promises to change all that. From Baltic, it's only a short drive to Boardwalk and Park Place, Atlantic City's famous high-rent district. Park Place boasts fashionable shops and world-renowned hotels like the Claridge, the Valley, and the Sands. Very little of Park Place looks as it did in 1934 when Charles Darrell invented Monopoly. And if you're expecting to find free parking, time and inflation has changed that too. Atlantic City's founders named many of the streets after states in the Union. 10 years ago, when civic leaders started a move to change the names of the old streets, Monopoly fans rallied to protest. The original names stayed put. Our travels take us next to one of the most beautiful residential areas of Atlantic City. Marvin Gardens is known for its graceful, winding streets and such illustrious homeowners as Princess Grace of Monaco, who still keeps a summer home here. Next stop, Chance. Anything can happen here. Wouldn't you know it? In Monopoly, going to jail is just part of the game, but life at the real jail is no fun at all. At one time, the railroad station was bustling with tourists, but today, aside from a few freight trains, the railroad yards are deserted. But busier than ever is the bus station, bringing a new kind of tourists from all over the East Coast. These people are here to play games, but for stakes much higher than those in Monopoly. Atlantic City has suddenly sprung to life as Las Vegas East. It seems only fitting that the city where Thomas Edison introduced the light bulb should once again enjoy the bright lights of a new era of prosperity. The Wheel of Fortune has rolled back to Atlantic City, the birthplace of Monopoly, and you've seen it happen because you asked for it.
This is Humphrey Bogart. I hate playing Monopoly. Every time I play it, I go to jail. Directly to jail. I didn't collect $200. An escape? Ah, forget it, sweetheart. How do you tunnel out of a Monopoly board? However, I did get to say, I'll play it again, Sam. Now it's time for Jack Smith, a man who has a real monopoly on the past. Here's Jack.
Thank you, Rich. You Asked For It has had a lot of animal acts, but very few were as unusual as Gloria Peoples and her animal lumberjacks. We first heard of Gloria back in 1958, and her act proved to be just as charming as we'd been told. You see, she taught her animals to do log rolling and bicycling and acrobatics and all sorts of tricks over water. Now, this is more difficult than it sounds, since many animals have a natural fear of water and will go out of their way to avoid a dunking. How Gloria trained these animals is her secret, but we can watch them in action because you asked for it.
Gloria and her troop are all stage veterans, but she wanted to prove that animals are capable of performing under the most unusual circumstances. And it was her idea to present them in this very difficult way. First, on a floating surfboard. For a balancing act, it creates plenty of problems. I'll let you in on a secret. There's a tasty raisin on the end of each fish, so no wonder he keeps pulling them in. But no tricks here. Anything a man can do, a monk can do better. Or anyhow, just as well. Like rowing a boat. Or riding a water bicycle. Or even log rolling. In their domesticated state, monkeys have no love for water, so this is the real test. They'll do anything to avoid a dunking. Now all aboard for an old-fashioned log rolling contest. Who'll be the first to go under? Now, keep your eyes on these three dogs. You might notice something in log rolling techniques. See how the black poodle does it? He works all alone, watches the log for every move. But the other two dogs nearest to Gloria team up, bracing themselves against each other. And they get their cue from Gloria. Never take their eyes off her feet. But Blackie's all on his own. First one off's a sissy, and down she goes. I think you'll agree that Blackie's the winner, so he gets to grab the rings. Two rings and one to go. Gloria Peebles and her animal lumberjacks. You asked for it.
Great story, Jack. Great story. It must be hard to train dogs to do that, though.
No, frankly, it's as easy as falling off a log.
Next on You Asked For It, the tools of the American Trailblazers. You get it.
And now back to Rich Little.
See here, you guys. Now, this is Edward G. Robinson. I thought I was tough, but there are mugs here on You Asked For It that are even tougher. They'll accept any challenge, go anywhere in the world to meet your requests. If you don't believe me, prove it. Write to You Asked For It, P.O. Box 1980, Hollywood, California, 90028.
We take tools like this for granted, but it wasn't too long ago that a sharp axe and a trusty gun meant the difference between life and death on the American frontier. Tools are as important to our history as politicians and treaties. And a lot of that history might have been lost, however, if a visionary man had not created a very special museum in Pennsylvania to preserve the tools of the past. Our Leigh Erickson gives us this exclusive look at the life of an American trailblazer because Mrs. Elaine Keyes of Wesson, Mississippi, you asked for it.
Rich, what you see in this fabulous hall isn't the world's largest attic. It's the main exhibition gallery of the Mercer Museum. This gallery is surrounded by 70 smaller rooms, displaying every imaginable trade and craft practiced by early Americans. Jim Blackaby, the museum's curator, watches over the 60,000 artifacts that are housed here.
In 1897, Henry Mercer recognized that the tools of pre-industrial America were being discarded. He gathered them together in this museum and called his collection the Tools of the Nation Maker.
Located in Doylestown, Pennsylvania, Mercer completed the museum in 1916. Virtually any tool that early Americans used to make life easier can be found here. Everything from food baskets to the boats that hunted whales for lighting fuel. Catching the whale was just the first step in the process of getting whale oil. Once you caught the whale, it was necessary to cut it in slabs with this spade. You then had to hoist it aboard the ship with this hook, mince it, and put it in this large pot to boil. The end result was whale oil, which lit the lamps of America. Henry Mercer divided tools into many classifications. The Conestoga wagon and stagecoach, complete with turnpike toll signs, were tools of transport. The hand-carved wooden figure of Buffalo Bill stood outside cigar shops as a tool of advertising. Mercer even collected fire engines, prisoners' docks, and a hangman's gallows as tools of government. But in some of the dark corners of early American homes, you would have found something that's still used today, the common mousetrap. Although this model you won't find in your local hardware store, the principle is still the same. You put some bait at the base of the trap, and then if you notice, there are some spikes at the top of the trap, which are used, of course, to kill the mouse. Hopefully, the mouse comes to eat the bait, the top is released, leaving no doubt as to the fate of the mouse. If folks were now trying to build a better mousetrap, they might have been making Applejack, a distilled whiskey made from apples. The tamer version of this drink, apple cider, was made on a cider press. Hats were an everyday item for early Americans, and virtually every decent-sized town had a hatter. The two most popular styles? Well, straw hats for farmers and beaver hats for town dandies. Two of the most revealing artifacts of the Mercer Museum are tucked behind locked doors. One of them is a potter's whistle. After the professional potter worked all day making cups and bowls, he might have relaxed by making one of these special toys for his children. And not forgetting Mom, the potter was known to make a few of these too, a clay roach trap. A little molasses on the bottom was all it took. A fabulous 18th century Mother's Day gift. You can always go to the National Archives to view the Declaration of Independence, but you're never closer to what life was really like for America's founding fathers than when you're here at the Mercer Museum. Broad axes like this were used by thousands of hands to cut down the forest that built America. They can truly be called tools of the nation makers. Thank you, Henry Mercer, for preserving them. And thank you, because you asked for it.
You know, styles change, but the basic tools of any country stay the same. Guts, ingenuity, and the will to use them. Oh, and a good chainsaw helps too.
Rich Little will be right back with more of You Asked For It. And now, back to Rich Little.
We got time for one letter. This is from David Connolly of Drexel Hill, Pennsylvania. Dear Mr. Little, you have met my dad at one of your shows in Las Vegas. You were doing Inspector Clouseau. You went up to my dad and said, Monsieur, by any chance, have you seen a boom? And my dad said, yes, I have. It was in your room. So I said, ha-ha! The man speaks my kind of language! Now back to what I want to ask. Will you please come to dinner at my house? I live at, and then they give the address. Here's the reply. Dear David, I am sorry I cannot come to dinner. Your father was right. There was a boom in my room. Sorry. I'm all broken up about it. Well, that's all the time we have. See you next time on... Good night, everybody.
This is John Harlan speaking. You Asked For It is a Sandy Frank production.